Hi, my name is David Yates with North Carolina State University's Industrial Extension Service. Today we're going to be talking about value stream mapping. I'm sure most of you have heard the term, but may be a little shaky on exactly how it's applied and what the uses are. To give you some background on value stream mapping, it's one of the key tools used in the Lean methodology, and it centers around looking at processes, determining the value in a process, and also identifying the waste in a process. Obviously, the waste is anything that doesn't add value or gets in our way and prevents us from doing what we need to be doing in our processes. But what about the value side? What perspective do we look at value? And that gets a little tricky sometimes as we dig into the processes to understand really what's happening. In my 18 years of using value stream mapping as a tool, I've continually been amazed at the amount of benefit that this tool highlights, how it transcends industries. To kind of give you some examples, you can do a value stream map. When I was a plant manager, I did them at the 30 or 20,000 foot level and laid those out for my employees to dive down to the 10,000, 5,000, or the 500 foot level. And that way we were able to tie in the operation so that everyone in our operation knew how their piece of the puzzle fit into the overall scheme for our company. It's the same thing here at the university, where we have deans that are more concerned about the overall picture, but also deans know that their staff, their department, their folks have to look at it from a different perspective, how it fits their roles and how to tie that in. And value stream mapping is the tool that allows us to do that. And that's what we at IES help so many of our clients with, is looking at the process from different levels, utilizing value stream mapping as a tool. Now I'll show you a couple of examples of a value stream map.
Some of the symbols that we'll be using in our value stream map will be the crown, which represents our customers and our suppliers, a rectangle, which represents our processing steps where the work is actually being done, and a triangle, which will be used to represent our wait time or our inventory. We've already talked about the importance of senior leadership, selecting the right project, and picking the right team members. Now let's talk about the importance of the voice of the customer. We need to listen to the needs of our external and our many internal customers. A lot of our internal customers will actually be folks involved in the process. Once we've talked with our customers, we now know what data to collect. Involved in that data collection will be going to the Gemba, where we actually walk the process to create a current understanding. Don't worry, IES will help you with each of these steps. Here's some types of information that are often used. You'll notice lots of different task times. Also quality and rework levels. The number of required associates, and various data like efficiency losses and interference. Now we're ready for our value stream map. This value stream map is for the Wolfpack request for quote. We start with our external customer and the input that they provide to us. The first step is the queue waiting for our first internal customer. Then our internal customer processes. Then it waits, and our second internal customer processes. This continues, and eventually it makes it through our entire process where input is given back to our external customer. You'll see here the different types of data that is used in this value stream, and also our value stream map ladder, where the top rung represents wait time and bottom rung represents processing time. In this value stream, our internal customers experience a cycle time of 8.5 minutes of which 1.6 minutes is value added. But our external customer experiences a lead time of 192.5 minutes and only 29% first pass yield. After we've developed our current state, now we want to work on our future state map. To do that, the team will analyze various types of data and even get involved in the detailed steps. Here, the red steps are the value added, and the steps in black are the non-value added steps. As the team works through different ideas, you will see that represented on our current state map through steps that are eliminated, streamlined, or reduced depending on the ideas developed by the team. Some other examples would be a value stream map of a purchasing process, which breaks off by the different types of purchases. Here's an example of a request process. The yellow represents when we're doing something, that's our rectangles, and the pink represents the triangles or our wait time. You'll notice here that this process gets routed through various areas before coming back in at the end to one common process. Here's another example where individual departments have their own way of processing and then feeds back in to a university level process where it continues down the path. Don't be surprised if your value stream map looks very different in your future state than it started off in your current state. Here, many steps have been eliminated and replaced. Now let's look at the impact. Our internal customers have seen their process time go from 8.5 minutes to 120 seconds. Overall, our external customer saw their time go from 192.5 minutes to 180 seconds. You'll notice the handoffs were significantly reduced and the number of tasks that were taken out of the process.
In the current state, you remember the different symbols that we talked about, where we're looking at the inputs coming in from our suppliers, internal and external. We're also keeping in mind the customer, whether it's the customer that's the next step in the process or the final end customer that we have. We're looking at the data blocks, the processing steps of when we're actually doing stuff. And remember the triangles, they're the ones where we're waiting or inventory is backing up on us. So we look at those flows through the current state and we want to use the data. The data is extremely important. We must understand the time that it's taking us, the amount of resources we're investing, what kind of inventories or bottlenecks are we encountering in our process, all the wait times, all the different ways of doing it. We must get data on that, because one of the things that before we can visualize the future state is we must understand where we're at currently. And a lot of times, depending on your perspective of where you're at in the organization, you may view the process entirely different. As we talked about, when we're very siloed, if my job is to take a travel voucher, for example, and make sure all the expenditures are correct, that's going to be the most important thing to me. That is one step in the process, and that step may have adverse effects on other areas in the process that go unknown unless we're looking at these from a higher level value stream. The first thing that we do at IES is sit down with our clients, and we want to meet with the senior leadership to determine what process we're actually going to value stream map. It's very important to pick a process that you're going to gain something from. This is going to be a significant time investment, and we want to make sure that we work on a process that actually needs significant improvement. Next, we agree on a time frame to meet. Generally, most events are in a 3-day time frame. We do have flexibility, and we customize depending on the needs for half days or full days or something in between. As we work on the project, what our objectives are to spend day one identifying the current state map, which is the baseline where we're at today. Day 2 is where the team targets certain areas identified on the current state map for improvement. Day 3 is spent laying out an action plan of how to make all of this come to fruition. So here we are at the end of the 3-day value stream map event, and now we've identified our current state, we've identified what we want our future state to look like, and that's where our results are going to come from. Because we've stuck with the data throughout, we will now have metrics in place of what to expect going forward. What waste has been identified for elimination, what waste is going to be reduced, and also what time has now been freed up to work on more value-added activities. As university leadership, you've invested significant amount of your folks' time in this process. So what results can you expect to receive? Our clients have seen 45% less time on contract purchases, a 37% increase in office output due to eliminating redundancies, 42% less time on vouchers, and 60% less labor on processing reports. While these results are significant, the keys to achieving these results are picking the right project, putting the right people on the team, and having the commitment to follow through to get the results. A benchmarking model here at NC State would be the work done at the College of Natural Resources.
We've been trying for a couple of years to find out if there was someone that could come in and do an assessment of how efficient we were in business processes. In today's budget climate, and I'm afraid in the future budget climate, we're going to have to be very careful to make sure that we're spending our dollars wisely. And one of those ways to ensure that is to see if you're doing your processes that are required for business in the most effective and efficient way. Mr. Leffler and Kathy Hart, the treasurer, suggested that we give IES a call. And we were ecstatic about the possibilities that this would afford us in being the first unit on campus that's actually used a lean office review to look at processes that we do on a daily basis and see where we could become more efficient in completing those processes. And from my perspective, it has exceeded every expectation I've ever had. In today's strategic reorganization that was announced by the Chancellor, we're obviously going to have to get better at what we do in the business processes to ensure that the resources that need to be allocated to teaching, research, and extension are there. And this is the only way to collect data to find out where your inefficiencies are. So I really think that these are tools that the entire university needs to look at in our drive to become better at what we do.
As you can see, our value stream mapping benchmark model is a flexible tool that allows you to realize significant improvements in your processes. We partner with all types of industries and organizations across the state. Our specialists are experienced and recognized as experts. If you want to reduce waste and increase value in your processes, give us a call.